Have you ever felt like your prayers are echoing into silence, like God is quiet while you're drowning in questions? What if the delay you've been battling wasn't denial, but divine preparation? Because when God moves, He doesn't just shift things slowly. He moves suddenly. And today, that sudden shift might just be for you. God says your waiting is over. What happens next will shock you. ElevateWise I came here today with a prophetic word for someone who's been stuck in a long, weary season of waiting. You've prayed, you've believed, you've clung to faith, even when it felt like your breakthrough was just out of reach. You've cried out to God, asking, "When, Lord? How much longer?" And I hear the Lord saying today, your waiting is over. Get ready for a major shift. This is not just another motivational message, it's a divine announcement. The doors that have long been locked are about to swing wide open. The prayers that seemed to go unanswered, they're about to be fulfilled. That season of delay, that wilderness, that struggle, it was never a rejection. It was never a punishment. It was preparation. But now, that season is shifting. The waiting has expired. And God is about to move suddenly in your life. I need you to hear this in your spirit. What took years to build, God can restore in days. What seemed impossible is about to become your undeniable reality. But here's the key. You must be ready, because when God shifts things, He does it fast. And if you're not positioned, if your heart isn't open, if your faith isn't aligned, you might miss what He's releasing. So today, I'm not just here to inspire you, I'm here to prepare you. Prepare for breakthrough, prepare for open doors, prepare for favor, elevation, opportunity, because what God has spoken over your life is coming to pass. My friend, if you've been living in the tension of waiting, I want you to know this. God has not forgotten you. Waiting seasons are some of the most painful, confusing, and lonely moments in our walk with Him. They shake our confidence. They make us question everything: our purpose, our prayers, even our faith itself. You may have felt like you've been trapped in a cycle, like nothing is changing, like your life is on pause while others move forward. You've asked, why is it taking so long? You've wondered, did I miss it? But let me remind you today, your waiting was never in vain. It had purpose, and that purpose is about to be revealed. God is a God of divine order and perfect timing. He never moves too soon, and He's never a moment too late. He moves right on time. But here's the challenge: we rarely feel that when we're in the middle of the wait, when we're watching others walk through doors we've prayed for, when we see people stepping into blessings we've long believed. For it's easy to feel forgotten, overlooked, left behind, and if we're not careful, the enemy will creep in and whisper lies. Maybe God's forgotten you. Maybe you weren't good enough. Maybe your chance has already passed. But let me tell you, the devil is a liar. God's delays are not denials. He's not punishing you. He's positioning you for something greater. In the last part, we were reminded that God's delays are not denials, they are divine setups. And now, let's look at what God is really doing in the waiting. You see, while you're waiting, He is preparing you. Think about Joseph. God gave him a dream, a vision of leadership, influence, and purpose. But instead of stepping directly into his destiny, his life took a painful detour. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, locked away in a prison cell. And year after year, Joseph waited. He waited in disappointment. He waited through deep injustice. He waited in silence when heaven seemed quiet. But here's the truth. What Joseph didn't know in those dark moments was that every single trial he faced was preparing him for what was coming. The betrayal didn't break him, it built his resilience. The prison didn't crush him, it formed his character. And the years of waiting didn't delay his destiny, they refined his faith. So when the time finally came, when the shift happened, Joseph wasn't just placed in a position of power, he was ready for it. And I believe God is saying, the Same thing to you right now. I wasn't punishing you, I was preparing you. I wasn't ignoring you, I was equipping you. I wasn't withholding from you, I was building in you what the blessing will require. Because here's the reality. If Joseph had been promoted too soon, he wouldn't have had the maturity to carry the weight of Egypt. If David had become king immediately after his anointing, he wouldn't have developed the heart to shepherd a nation. If Esther had stepped into the palace before the right time, she wouldn't have been positioned to save her people. And I need you to hear this deep in your spirit. What you've been waiting for is not being denied. God is ensuring that when you walk into it, you will remain in it. Because a blessing received too early can feel like a burden. An opportunity stepped into prematurely can collapse under pressure. A destiny entered before maturity can overwhelm and destroy. So, in His wisdom, God says, not yet, not because He's angry, not because He's forgotten, but because He loves you too much to give you something before you're ready to carry it. Some of you have been waiting for healing, and you've asked, why hasn't God answered yet? But what if in this season He's not only healing your body, He's healing your heart? Some of you have been waiting for a relationship. You've been wondering, where's the right person? But what if, in this time, God is preparing you to be the right person for the blessing that's on the way? And others have been waiting for a financial breakthrough, for doors to open, for opportunities to finally show up. But what if this waiting season has been about more than provision? What if it's been about preparation? What if God has been reshaping your mindset, teaching you stewardship, deepening your dependence on Him so that when the breakthrough arrives, you won't just receive it, you'll know how to multiply it? I came here to tell you God never wastes a season. If you're in a waiting season, it's because He has a reason. And while I don't know how long you've been waiting, I do know this. When God declares that the waiting is over, when He says, now is the time, everything can change in a moment. Suddenly, Joseph went from the prison to the palace. Suddenly, David went from watching sheep to ruling a nation. Suddenly, everything shifted. Suddenly, just like that tester went from an orphan to a queen. And just as quickly, God is about to move in your life. Some of you right now need to shake off the weight of discouragement, the heaviness of delay, because, whether you see it or not, the shift is already in motion. The very thing you've been praying for, it's already being aligned. The breakthrough you've been waiting on, it's closer than you think. The door you thought was sealed shut, it's about to swing open wide. The opportunity is approaching. The answer is coming. And yes, your waiting is over. So what do you do now? Get ready. Because when God announces a shift, it's not time to sit still. You can't afford to be passive. You can't afford to linger in doubt. You must walk with bold expectation, step into alignment, and prepare your spirit. Why? Because when God moves, He moves fast. And here's the truth. So many of us pray for a shift, but few prepare for it. We cry out, God, change my life. Open the doors. Bring the breakthrough. But when He starts moving, we pause. We second guess. Is this really for me? Am I ready for this? What if I mess it up? And tragically, some of us sabotage the very thing we asked God to release because we fail to recognize the shift when it begins. So hear me now. You cannot afford to stay in a waiting mindset when God has already started shifting things in your favor. Look at the Israelites. They cried out for freedom for generations. And when God sent Moses, when the Red Sea split wide open, when the miracle came, what did they do? They looked back. They longed for Egypt. They had been stuck in waiting for so long that when freedom arrived, they weren't ready for it. They still thought like slaves. When God was calling them to walk like conquerors, and because they couldn't embrace the shift, a journey that should have taken just days ended up taking 40 years. So, let me ask you, what about you? Will your hesitation delay your breakthrough? Will your old mindset cost you the very thing God has already placed in motion? God is saying to you today, I'm shifting you into a new season, but you must stop thinking like the person you were. In the last one, you have to stop responding out of fear. You have to stop questioning every open door. You have to stop asking, "Am I worthy?" Because God already called you. He already equipped you. And He has already gone ahead of you. Listen closely. This shift isn't coming. It's already happening. Some of you are about to step into divine connections that seem too good to be true. Some of you are about to receive opportunities so big, they'll scare you. Some of you are about to see restoration in areas you thought were beyond repair. But here's the question: will you be ready when it happens? You can't remain in Egypt and step into the promised land at the same time. You can't walk in faith while clinging to fear. You can't ask God to open doors and then stand frozen in front of them. This is your moment of shift, but you must move with God. Remember Peter. When Jesus called him out of the boat to walk on water, the miracle was already activated. The water had already been made firm beneath his feet. Previously, we saw Peter standing at the edge of a miracle, the waters beneath him already stabilized by the word of Christ. But the miracle wasn't complete until Peter made a choice. Would he stay in the safety of the boat or step into the unknown? The same decision is now in front of many of you. God is saying, step out, move forward, walk in faith. But instead of taking that step, you're analyzing it. Instead of preparing for the shift, you're stuck in hesitation. Let me say this as clearly as I can. The shift is going to happen, with or without you. When God moves, He doesn't wait for us to feel comfortable. He doesn't wait until we feel ready or certain. He moves because His plan is greater than our fear. He moves because someone's breakthrough is tied to our obedience. He moves because His word, once spoken, will not return void. And I don't know about you, but I refuse to miss my moment. I refuse to stay stuck in a season that God has already called me out of. I refuse to let fear hold me back when the Lord has already made the way clear. I came today to speak directly to your heart. It's time to move. It's time to walk like it's already done, to speak like the victory is already yours, to live as if the shift has already arrived, because in the Spirit, it has. And if you can receive that truth today, if you begin to prepare your heart, your mind, and your faith, then when the shift fully manifests, you won't be caught off guard. You'll be ready to step into the place God has been preparing for you all along, because what God has for you is bigger than what you left behind, and where He's taking you is greater than where you've been. So don't look back, don't hesitate, don't let fear delay your destiny. Your shift is already here. And when God speaks of a shift, He's not just talking about change, He's speaking of acceleration. What used to take years will now happen in moments. What seemed stuck will suddenly move. What felt impossible will begin to come together in ways you could have never arranged on your own. But here's what you must understand. Acceleration demands preparation. God isn't just changing things in your life, He's doing it quickly. And if you're not ready, you might miss what He's releasing. This is not the time to sit back and wait. This is the time to prepare, to align your mindset, your lifestyle, and your spirit with what God is about to do. Some of you have been praying for an open door, but when it opens, will you be ready to walk through it? Some of you have been waiting for a promotion, but when God elevates you, will you have the character and wisdom to carry it well? God is not just giving you a blessing, He's entrusting you with responsibility. And responsibility requires readiness. Think about Noah. God told him to build an ark before there was a cloud in the sky. He had never seen rain. He had no evidence that a flood was coming. But Noah prepared anyway. He built when people mocked him. He worked without any visible sign of change. And because he prepared, when the rain finally came, he was ready. Some of you are waiting for confirmation before you prepare. You're looking for signs. Earlier, We saw Noah prepare long before the rain came, building with boldness when there wasn't a single cloud in the sky. That's because real faith doesn't wait for confirmation. It moves before the evidence appears. Faith doesn't ask for proof before it starts preparing. Faith gets in motion as if the miracle has already begun. You don't wait to see the shift. You begin acting like it's already here. You start praying bolder prayers. You begin speaking with the authority of someone who knows heaven is backing them. You start cutting out distractions, anything that dulls your focus or weakens your fire. You start walking with a quiet, holy confidence that whispers, "I don't need to see it yet. I know it's already in motion." God is speaking to you right now, saying, get your house in order, get your mind in order, get your spirit in alignment. Because when He moves suddenly, and you must be ready. This is not the season to be casual about your calling. This is not the time to be chasing things that don't matter. If you had any idea how close you were to your breakthrough, you wouldn't spend another second on doubt, on fear, or on second-guessing yourself. You'd be in full-on preparation mode. Think about it this way. When a woman is pregnant, she doesn't wait until she's in labor to prepare. She prepares months in advance. She sets up the nursery. She buys what the baby will need. She risks her life because she knows the due date is coming. And today, I came to tell someone, your due date is near. What you've been carrying, those prayers, that promise, that purpose, is about to be birthed. And when it comes, it won't come slowly. It will come suddenly. Joseph went from prison to palace overnight. David stepped from the fields into the throne room in a moment. The disciples were ordinary fishermen until Jesus called them, and their lives changed instantly. And now, God is saying the same to you. I'm not just shifting you, I'm accelerating you. What took others 10 years to build, you'll walk into in one. What seemed like it would never come will suddenly rush in. The favor that's been held up, it's being released right now. But hear this, when the moment comes, you won't have time to scramble, to prepare, or to fix loose ends. You have to be ready now. Because when the call comes, it won't give you time to get ready, only time to respond. That means we must stop saying, God, I'm waiting on you, when the truth is, maybe God has been waiting on us, waiting for us to stop playing small, waiting for us to stop second-guessing ourselves, waiting for us to stop making excuses and start moving like the shift is already underway. If you knew what was about to break loose in your life, would you still be hesitating? Would you still be distracted by things that don't feed your future? Would you still be afraid to act? No, you'd be focused, you'd be in position, you'd be walking like someone who knows that any day now, everything can change. This is not the time to settle. This is not the time to slow down. This is the time to accelerate, to move with purpose, as if the door has already opened. Because in the Spirit, it has. God is saying, get ready, get in position, prepare yourself, because what I'm about to release will happen faster than you think. And if you're not ready, you might miss it. So don't wait until you see the blessing. Start preparing now, because when the doors swing open, when the breakthrough floods in, when the acceleration begins, you won't have to chase it. You'll already be standing in the right place to receive it. And as we move into the next part, you'll discover exactly how to stay positioned so that the blessing won't just come, it will remain. In the last section, we learned that preparation must come before manifestation. But now, there's something deeper we must confront, because when God brings a shift, it's not just about open doors, released blessings, or long-awaited breakthroughs. It's about transformation from the inside out. Yes, the shift is about what God is giving you. But more than that, it's about who He's calling you to become. When God shifts your life, He doesn't just change your surroundings, He changes you. Some of you have been praying, God, change my situation, but He's been whispering back, I'm starting with you first. You've been asking for new doors to open, and He's saying, then let me give you a new mindset. You've been waiting for your circumstances to shift, but God is saying, I need you to shift first. Because what good is walking into a new season if you're still carrying the thoughts, fears, and baggage from the last one? What's the point of entering a wide open door if you're still dragging the chains of yesterday behind you? What is the use of acceleration if you're still crippled by hesitation? This shift God is bringing isn't just external, it's a holy renovation. On the inside, He's realigning your thinking, strengthening your faith, rebuilding your confidence. He's calling you to step fully into the identity He already placed on you long ago. But to do that, you have to let go of what no longer fits. You can't carry an old mindset into a new season. You can't bring old habits into a higher level. You can't step into a divine shift while still clinging to the weight of fear, doubt, or insecurity. And for some of you, that's exactly what God is saying right now. Let it go. Let go of fear. Let go of insecurity. Let go of those relationships that no longer align with your purpose. Let go of what's familiar but no longer fruitful. Let go of the comfort zone that's slowly becoming a cage. Because I have more for you, but you have to make room for it. When God called Abraham, He told him, leave your father's house and go to the land I will show you. Abraham didn't have a map. He didn't know the full route. All he knew was that if God said go, he had to move. He couldn't stay where he was and receive what God had for him at the same time. He had to trust God enough to step into the unknown, and that's exactly where some of you are standing today. You can feel it. Something is shifting. You sense it in your spirit. Something new is unfolding. But stepping into that shift will require faith, because sometimes God doesn't give you all the details. Sometimes He asks you to walk forward while the picture is still blurry. Sometimes the shift means leaving behind everything that feels safe and trusting that what He has ahead is far greater than anything you've left behind. So, I need to ask you, do you trust God enough to move? Do you trust Him enough to let go? Do you trust Him enough to stop overthinking, stop overplanning, and simply walk in obedience? Because here's the truth. Some of you are holding on to people, patterns, and perspectives that don't belong in your next season. You're trying to keep people in your life who can't go where God is sending you. You're trying to stretch an expired season into a fresh one. But when God shifts, you can't stay where you are. You can't live in yesterday while stepping into destiny. And as we move into the next section, you'll see why embracing the shift wholeheartedly and without hesitation is the key to unlocking everything God has prepared for you. In the last part, we saw how a shift demands not only physical movement, but also a transformed mindset. And now, as we come to this final moment, the message becomes even more personal, even more urgent. You must move with God. When He shifts, you shift. When He speaks, you respond. Think about the Israelites when God delivered them out of Egypt. He didn't just free their bodies, He wanted to liberate their minds. They were no longer slaves. They were chosen, called, set apart. But even though God changed their location, they never changed their mindset. They still thought like captives. They still operated from fear. They still clung to the past, even when freedom was ahead. And because of that, an entire generation, yes, an entire generation, missed out on the very promise they had cried and prayed for. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. I don't want to see you miss what God is doing simply because you're too afraid to release the familiar. I don't want your blessing to pass you by because you're still carrying the mindset of who you used to be. I don't want your destiny delayed because hesitation held your feet when faith was calling you forward. God is declaring something powerful over your life today. He's saying, this is your moment. This is your time. He's already spoken the shift into existence. He's already set things in motion, even if you can't see them yet. He's aligning people, places, and opportunities behind the scenes. But now, you must move. You must move with him, not later, not once things are safe, but now. You must release what no longer fits. You must let go of what no longer fuels your purpose. You must believe, even without full proof, that God is doing something bigger, deeper, greater than you ever imagined, because he is. And because if you'll move with him now, if you'll step out in faith, walk in boldness, and trust him in the unknown, you won't miss your moment. You'll walk straight into it. The shift has come. The door is open. Now is the time. Move.